guys, welcome to your to this evening's video. There has been an update on the injured Ayden. Obviously, I did my match day review last night for the Leicester United game, and I was talking about how Ayden had actually been stretchered off and had his ankle splintered, and he'd been stretchered off the field with what looked like a very bad injury. And I think, originally at the time, I think a lot of Manchester United fans feared that he was going to be out for, well, this was going to be, this was quite a serious injury, especially as they didn't actually show any replays at the moment that he got injured. Obviously, the reports that have come out today, there are reports that that Ayden Heaven was seen leaving Old Trafford after the game yesterday. He was wearing a protective boot, but he was walking unaided without any crutches or anything like that. So that would mean that the injury wasn't as bad as first thought. That would be a positive. That would be something that would be a positive thing. Obviously, we won't really know probably for another few days. What the extent of his injury is and how long he's going to be out for. But I think we all hope for the best and hope that if he's not back, um, if he's not going to be back, for the end until the start of next season. Obviously, if he's not going to be back again this season, hopefully he will be back and ready to go for the start of next season. Um, I mean, it look. I think a lot of people thought it was a very serious injury at first. I think especially as they stretched it, they put his ankle in a splint and they stretched him off. Um, but now I'm thinking that maybe that was more of a precautionary measure than anything else. I think maybe it was nothing more than a precautionary measure, um, rather than an indication that he was seriously injured. Um, I'm glad that obviously I mean if this is actually true and he was seen leaving the stadium unaided, that I think that would be good news. I honestly do think that would be good news for a lot of the players and for him in particular. I mean, obviously, and I think that would be good news for Ruben Amorim as well, because I don't think that we can afford any more kind of serious long-term injuries at this point in time. Because we've already got so many players that are out on the injury list, we don't want that injury list to grow any more than it already has. I think we have been somewhat hurt when it comes to injuries this season. I think if this is the case, and he was seen leaving, seen leaving the stadium and unaided, without any crutches or anything like that, that would be a very good sign for us. It would be a positive. And I think, I think we'll all be hoping that that is a positive sign. I mean, if he's wearing a protective boot, but walking unaided, that might not be necessarily a bad thing. That might be a somewhat positive thing. That may mean that he's not going to be out for as long as was first feared. As I think when originally at the time, looking back at it now, looking back on it yesterday, looking back at yesterday, I think a lot of people at the time were under the impression that it would be a season ender. He wasn't going to. I think a lot of people were, originally under the impression that he wasn't going to be back in action this season. I think there was that concern that it was quite a bad injury. And it did look that way. It did look as if it was quite a bad injury at first, but obviously, from what the reports have said, maybe it might not have been as bad as was first thought, which is good. Obviously, we'll know more properly. We'll know more details on it in the next few days. Obviously, we just have to hope for the best. That's all any of us as United fans can really do. It's hope that the injury isn't that serious and he'll be back, hopefully by the end of this season. But I don't know. I mean, there's not that long left of the season, so I honestly don't know if he will be back this season. It may very well be that he is out for the rest of the season and he'll be back for the start of next season. I wouldn't really have too much of a problem with that if they say, because we are, at the end of the day, you know, that would be where are we now? So we're in March, so it'd be April, May, June. So it'd be around, it would be around 5 months before we saw him back. Um, I was thinking, but originally at first I was thinking best case scenario is a few months, and I was thinking that worst case scenario would be 6 months plus. That is the worst case scenario. Best case scenario is you know 3 months, possibly 3 months or less. But I don't know if he will be back within the next few months. All we can do is just hope for the best and hope that there is a positive outcome. And I'm sure that we'll get more details on his injury in the coming days. And that we will continue to find it. We'll continue, obviously, we will continue on. Obviously, but all we can do is wish Ayden Heaven a very speedy recovery and hope that he's back. If this is him out for the rest of the season, hopefully we'll see him back and ready to go for the start. And I think he will be back and ready to go for the start of next season. Obviously, this is unfortunate. But sadly, these things do happen. Obviously, you never want to see, anything like this to happen. But sometimes it does. And I think we were, a lot of fans were concerned about this because Aiden Heaven has put in some pretty good performances for us over the last few weeks. So it's kind of tough to lose a player that, to injury, especially when they've been playing so well and they've been one of the better players for us in the team the last few weeks. And they've been one of those players that has been putting in good performances. You know, it is sad because it means that we are gonna miss that player for a little while, but hopefully, we may see him back. There is that slight chance. I don't know how I don't know how likely this is, but maybe there is a chance we could see him back before the end of the season. But I don't know if we will. I'm not 100% confident that he will be back. Until the start of next season. I'm not 100% confident that he will be back before the start of the season, is what I meant to say. Before, the end of this season. I really, I mean, I think everyone was concerned, and had every right to be concerned because it did look like a very serious injury at first. But we've been obviously these reports are suggesting that the injury might not be as serious as first thought. Obviously, that the report, as I said, the reports are he was seen leaving Old Trafford, wearing a protective boot but walking unaided without any crutches or anything, which to me is a positive sign and and could be and may very well be a good indication that things are not as bad as they were first thought to be, and that we could see him back. And he may be out for he might not be out. He might not be out as long as was first thought. But yeah, hopefully this is good news. Hopefully it wasn't a bad injury. But I think, as I said, I think that I honestly do think them kind of splinting his ankle and stretching him off yesterday was more of a precautionary measure than anything else. That's what I think it was. And I'm thinking that maybe the reason that they didn't show it back, like they didn't show the replays of it, was maybe because they didn't think there was any real reason to show a replay. Because it wasn't really like an important moment, so there wasn't really a need to show a replay. But I don't, I mean, obviously, again, that was what made people think that it was that it was quite a serious injury was the fact that they didn't show the replays of the moment that he actually got hurt, which is what made people think, oh God, this is a very serious injury, because why have they not shown the replays of it? But obviously, as these reports today would be, a little bit, it may give us some positivity, and may, give us something to be, and maybe a good thing. So yeah, just what I would give my thoughts on that, and I will see you that is it for now. I'll see you for another video tomorrow. Bye bye, guys.